Hello, Bookish Babes, and welcome to my book nook. Yes, my hair is looking sort of crazy right now. It is wet, it's drying. I had to film this tonight, right now, at this very moment, because my son is asleep and my husband is in the other room, and so I'm just gonna film this really quick. But if you're new around here, my name's Rainey. I'm a elementary music teacher and middle school musical theater teacher by day. I also teach aerial arts in my fun time, and I'm a booktuber, and I love to talk all things booktube and all the fun stuff. So in today's video though, we are going to be talking about my highly anticipated 2022 releases. These are all novels that are coming out in 2022. I think one or two of them might have even come out already, like at the very beginning of January. But I have about 55 books on this list. So I'm going to be really quick about going through them. I have categorized them into romance, thriller and horror, sci-fi, fantasy, and then ones that I recognized as like YA, although I could have just lumped those in with everything else. But I didn't do that. I'm also going to throw a disclaimer that yes, these are highly anticipated, but if I don't get to all of them this year, I'm not going to be like crying myself to sleep. There are some that I definitely know I'm going to get to, and I'll probably mention the ones that I know for sure I'm going to get to, but there are some that I would love to just get to anyway, but they're all still highly anticipated. So the way I'm going to do this is get onto my Goodreads on my computer and just show you each one, talk about it for like 30 seconds and move on, because otherwise we're going to be here for a million years. So, like I said, let's chat 2022 anticipated reads. So we're going to start with romances first, and I have a couple. I'm not typically a romance person, but I don't know. I was just feeling a lot of these books, so we're just going to go with it. And the first one that I'm super excited to read is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. Now, I have only read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, but I do also have Verity, Regretting You, and Layla by her. And so I plan on doing a Coho reading vlog soon, and I've heard this one is really good. I've heard a couple of people read it. And so, as this one says, it's just after serving 5 years in prison for a tragic mistake, Kenna returns to the town where it all went wrong, hoping to reunite with her 4-year-old daughter. But, of course, those bridges she burned are proving impossible to rebuild. Everyone's trying to shut her out except for Ledger Ward, the local bar owner, and one of the few remaining links to her daughter. But if anyone discovered how he's slowly becoming an important part of her life, they'd both risk the trust of losing everyone important to them. And so this one sounds super awesome. I'm super excited to read it. I've heard this one is like on It Ends With Us level, so we'll see. This one I'm super excited about is Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. So I did read the X Talk by her as well, and I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was just kind of in the middle for me, but I don't know. This one sounds super cute. And so it's just a TV meteorologist and a sports reporter scheme to reunite their divorced bosses. And that just sounds super fun, and I love the cover. It's just oh so cute. But yeah, this one comes out in January 11th. I think the other one comes out on the 17th. But yeah, I'm super excited to read this and get this one soon. I pre-ordered it already, so cannot wait for it to arrive. Another one that I'm super excited to read because I just got Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas is Motel, which is another contemporary romance of hers, but there's literally no more information other than this. Synopsis and cover is coming soon. So it's coming out in 2022 apparently, but that's all we know. So that's all I can really say on this one. The next one that I'm really excited to read is One Italian Summer by Rebecca Surley, which she also wrote in 5 years, which I haven't read yet. It's on my shelf. I meant to read it in December and just didn't get to it. And this one is about Katie, whose mother dies, and of course she's really, really upset about that, but she was supposed to have a planned mother-daughter trip 2 weeks in Positano, and I think she ends up going without her, and then of course falls in love with someone while she's there, I believe, and at least I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I've heard this one is really good at showing like the relationship between a mother and child even after one passes away, and like really hits those sort of topics like that. So I'm super excited to read it. I love the cover also. It's giving me really like great Italian beach read vibes. So this one comes out in March. I'll probably save it for summer though to read it. Another book that I am so beyond excited to read is Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead. This is her like romance novel. I do have In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by her, and no, I have not read it yet. I'm reading it in February ASAP because I really want to read it. But this one is about Lee Stone, who's a really great communications director at a woman-run electric car company, and she's basically learned to never trust love, and so or she's going to end up falling in love with someone, and of course that's going to change everything. But I love this cover. I have a bunch of friends that have received the ARC for this and have said that this is like just as good as In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and so I'm really excited. She also has another book coming out this year, a thriller. I think it's called The Last Housewife or The Next Housewife. You're going to see it later on in my thriller horror category when I find out what the book is actually called. But yeah, this one just looks so fun. Okay, the next one is 3 books, but I'm only going to show you one of the books. And actually, I need to click that I want to read it. It's Under One Roof, Below Zero, and Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood. And these are 3 STEMinist, like feminist, but STEMinist novellas by Ali Hazelwood, the same person that wrote The Love Hypothesis. And so I believe there are 3 different like mini novellas that are releasing on May 3rd. And then she also has another book, Love on the Brain, which is a sequel to The Love Hypothesis. Yeah, I know. Coming out soon. I finally got The Love Hypothesis, or I'm waiting to get it. It's in my Book of the Month box that was supposed to be here like 4 days ago, but whatever, it's not here yet. And so I'm really excited to read these ones as well. And so, yeah, let me actually click so you can see the other 2 that are coming out. Yeah, so here they are. Under One Roof, Below Zero, and Stuck With You. And I think they all come out the same day, but let's just like check and see. No, they don't. One comes out in May, one comes out in July, and then I don't know when the other one comes out. But that's exciting. Of course, we couldn't leave out the latest Christina Lauren novel, Something Wilder. I haven't read any books from her yet. I was going to read The Soulmate Equation in December, and I just ran out of time. I plan on reading it soon. But I figured this one would be a cute one to maybe perhaps read. This one looks like it takes about a road trip that goes hilariously wrong with a hidden treasure or something like that. I'm not really sure. I haven't read too far into this, but it looks super cute. It looks like it's getting really great ratings, and so I'm excited to hopefully get to read this at some point. Okay, this one is one I totally picked basically because Gabby Reeds shared it on her anticipated reads of 2022, and it just looked super cute, and it's called Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson, and it's about a girl named Phoebe Walsh who's obsessed with true crime, ends up convincing herself that her new neighbor Sam Dennings is a serial killer, but it's not long before she realizes that he might be something scarier, a genuinely nice guy who she might fall in love with. So anyway, it sounds super cute. It doesn't have that many reviews yet. It comes out on August 1st, so it's going to be a while, but I love the cover. And yeah, when Gabby mentioned it, I was like, I gotta add this. So I'm super excited to read this one too. Okay, this one is one that I saw 2 of my friends get an ARC copy of and share and say how much they loved on Instagram, so I'm super excited to read it, and it's called What Might Have Been by Holly Miller, and it basically says the 2 lives of Lydia Bird meets this time next year, which sounds super cute, and it's about a girl named Lucy who's at a crossroads. The same night she quits her thankless job, she meets Caleb, a local photographer, and has a run-in with Max, the once love of her life. As she decides the right path forward, she finally pursuing her dream of becoming a writer or moving to London and revive her career. Her choice will change her life in unimaginable ways. Will she stay or will she go? And that just sounds really, really great. I think it's super, I don't know, it's giving me like cozy vibes. So like, I don't know, maybe I'll save it for the winter. I don't know. It comes out January 18th, so in like 10 days from now. So can't wait to read it. I've seen this one a couple of times as well, Circling Back to You by Julie Tew on a couple of people's bookstagrams, and this one sounds really fun. So this one is about colleagues that decide to take their relationship outside the office. I love the cover. All of these are like super cute. I just can't wait to read this one. But yeah, this one doesn't have as high of ratings. It comes out July 12th, which is my birthday, so that's kind of exciting. But yeah, I've heard it's super cute, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Next one is the 3rd book in a series that I haven't even read the 1st or the 2nd one yet, and this is also just because Gabby Reed said that I should read this, and so I want to, because she's one of her favorite authors, and it's Alexandra Bellafleur, and it's Count Your Lucky Stars, which is the 3rd one in Written in the Stars number 3. And so I want to read Written in the Stars and Hang the Moon this year. And so hopefully by the time this comes out, which is February 1st, yeah, I won't be reading this February 1st, but it's going to come out this year, and hopefully I will read all 3 books, and I can do that for like a vlog or something. But yeah, it looks really cute, so we're going to keep it. This one is also a sequel that I haven't read the first one to, and the first one was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, and don't you worry, I'm reading that this year because I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. This one comes out March 1st, so I do have time. But, so it's about the Bellinger sisters, and the last one followed our Alexis Rosie type character, and I believe this one follows her sister, Hannah, and it follows her relationship with a king crab fisherman, which sounds super cute, so I'm excited to see, this book when it comes out. This one looks super cute. I don't know, I just saw it randomly on Goodreads and added it, and it looked cute, but I forgot to add once to read. And it's called When You Get the Chance by Emma Lord, and it says nothing will get in the way of Millie Price's dream to become a Broadway star, not her lovable but super introverted dad, not her pesky and ongoing drama club rival, and not the Millie moods. The feelings of intense emotion threaten to overwhelm her. She needs an ally, and when a left open browser brings Millie to her dad's embarrassingly moody live journal from 2003, she knows just what to do. She's gonna find her mom. And so I think this one is a romance. I'm pretty sure it said it was. Maybe it's not. And if not, then I don't really know. But I thought there was love in this. So if there's not, and this is just about finding your mom, still looks good. We're going to read it. Okay, so this one is The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley, and I've definitely seen this all over Instagram because a lot of my friends have the arc of this one. And this one says, 3 years ago, Katrina and Nathan were the brightest literary stars on the horizon. Their co-written books topping bestseller lists, but on the heels of their greatest success, they ended their partnership on bad terms. They haven't spoken since and never plan to, except they have one final book due on contract. And so, of course, that's going to be like this really heated love story, I'm sure. Can't wait to read this. I love the cover. I'm loving all these covers. They're giving me all the vibes. I am excited to see where this one goes, but yeah. Okay, we didn't think that we could just get through this whole romance section and not have Emily Henry's book on it, right? Book lovers, yes. I'm going to say I've not read Beach Read or People We Meet on Vacation. I do own both. I plan on reading both this year, so don't you worry. I will have this read by then. I'm sure since this comes out in May, it's probably going to be a book of the month selection, which I will get. But it's basically about one summer, two rivals, and a plot twist they didn't see coming because all of them always have to do something with books because, well, not all of them. The Beach Read one does, and this one does, but People on Vacation I don't think does. Either way, I think this one's going to be super cute. Cannot wait to read it. It'll be a hit, I'm sure. Okay, this one is Set on You by Amy Lee, and I don't remember who said that they wanted to read this, but it looks beyond cute, and it's about weightlifting, which is kind of cool. So it's about curvy fitness influencer Crystal, who built her career shattering gym stereotypes and mostly ignoring the trolls, and after her recent breakup, she has little stamina left for men, instead finding solace in the gym, and then enters firefighter Scott Ritchie, who starts stealing her favorite squat rack, and sparks start flying, but then they end up running into each other at their grandparents' engagement party, and then end up, liking each other and all that. I have never really read a book that's about weightlifting with romance, but I bet you it's going to be super cute. Cannot wait for it. Okay, so now we're going to move on to thriller and horror, and with that, I have a bunch because I love thriller and horror, and we're going to start off with Daphne by Josh Malerman, who I have wanted to read his book, Pearl, which is about a pig that can whisper stuff and, make you kill people, I think. Anyway, that's on my list. But this one is about Daphne, a brutal woman who stalks a girls' high school basketball team in a total reimagining of the slasher genre, and it says, whatever you don't think about Daphne, don't think about her at all. And so I plan on not thinking about her, so I'm excited to read this. I'm probably going to be a little scared, if we're being honest. So I also want to read The Maid by Nita Prose, and yes, this was a Book of the Month add-on this month for January, but I didn't add it pick it because I already had too many that I wanted to get, like The Love Hypothesis and A History of Wild Places, and then I picked for my actual Book of the Month Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. This one comes out really soon, though, and I still want to read it. And I'm not entirely sure what this one is about. I heard it's like a Clue-like locked room mystery. So that sounds amazing to me. It looks super cute. I love the cover with the maid and the keyhole. So yeah, I'm about it. Next up is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. And yes, I've not read any Riley Sager books yet, and I own 4. I own Lock Every Door, Survive the Night. I can't remember the other 2 that I own, but I own at least 4 of them. And so I'm excited to read this one, though. So this one is about Casey Fletcher, a widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, and she retreats to her family's lake house in Vermont and ends up watching her neighbors, as everybody always does. And then the one day at the lake, she saves Catherine from drowning, and they strike up a budding friendship, and then the girl ends up disappearing. So then it's like, what the heck happened to her and all this stuff. But yeah, it looks fun. I bet you it's going to be good. Next is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins, which this one came out on the 4th, and I'm getting it in my Book of the Month box whenever it gets here, and I haven't read The Wife Upstairs yet. I do have it, though, so I'm excited to read this one. So this one basically is kind of like And Then There Were None, or The Guest List, or things like that, where, there's a bunch of people on an island, and then one ends up disappearing, and then one person turns up dead, and you start to figure out, who's picking them off one by one. So I'm super excited to see this one and see how it plays out for sure. Well, the next one is 9 Lives by Peter Swanson, and this one kind of reminds me of Final Destination, where there's certain people that end up on a plane and then, or for example, end up not dying, and so they have to die at some other time. It's not exactly like that, but this one is about 9 people who get a cryptic list with their names on it, and then they start to die in really unusual circumstances. And so of course they're trying to figure out how are they all connected? How can they stop themselves from getting murdered? Who is sending this message? I can't wait to read this. It comes out March 15th, and I am super stoked. I've not read a Peter Swanson novel yet either, so maybe I'll just start with this one. We shall see. I do have 8 Perfect Murders on my TBR, though, so maybe I should read that first and then see if I'm still interested in reading this. I don't know. Next is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. So I read the guest list and absolutely loved it. So I cannot wait to read this one. So this one's about Jess. She needs a fresh start. She's broken alone, and she left her job under less than ideal circumstances. Her half-brother dad, Ben, she stays with him for a bit, and then, of course, he ends up being not there and starts to be missing, and so she has to dig into the situation and see who, like, has been it. Like, whether it's the socialite, the nice guy, the alcoholic, the girl on the verge, the concierge. Everyone's a neighbor, everyone's a suspect, and everyone knows something they're not telling. So it kind of follows the plot line of, like, all of her books so far, like, where there's a group of characters and which one is the murderer or the bad guy. So I'm sure I'll love this just as much as I loved the guest list. Next one is The Night Shift by Alex Finley, and I don't know a lot about this one. I haven't researched it very much yet. It's returning on March 1st, but I think I saw Books and Lala or Gabby mention this one, and it looked fun, so I'm excited to read it. But it's about New Year's Eve in 1999 with Y2K, and it, you know, Y2K and all the stuff that happens there, and a Blockbuster video in New Jersey, 4 teenage girls are attacked and only one survives. 15 years later, 4 teenage employees working late in an ice cream store are attacked and only one makes it out alive. And so they are intersecting, and you have to find out how they connect and find out who the murderer is and all that. And this one sounds like super exciting. Like, I just imagine it's going to be so good. This one is literally my favorite already because it's my name. I mean, the girl's name is Lorraine, but she goes by Rainy. I love this. I love this so much. I cannot wait for this book now. It comes out in April. You never get a character named Rainy. You never get a character named Rainy. That is exciting. Okay, so Rainy lives at the top of Tiger Mountain. It's a sanctuary, a new life. She can hide from the disturbing past she wants to forget if she's allowed to. When she agrees to a girls' weekend in Vegas, she's prepared for an exhausting parade of shots and slot machines, but after a while, her friend doesn't come back to the hotel room, and then she gets a text message from the girl's phone. Someone has her, but Rainy's who they really want, and she knows why, and so it's all about that. I cannot wait to read this, just because it's my name in this book. Do I need more of a reason? No, I don't. Next is the next Megan Miranda book, which comes out in July. I did like Such a Quiet Place, and that's the only one I've read so far, but I'll read another one from her. And so I'm not really sure what this one is about. I could read it right now, but I'm not going to. I just think it's going to probably be good, probably another 3.5 to 4 star. Hers are cozy mysteries that I tend to enjoy, and so I'm excited to read the next Megan Miranda book. So the next one is Lisa Jewell's The Family Remains, which is actually The Family Upstairs #2, a sequel that I didn't know she's writing a sequel to. I actually own that book and haven't read it yet, so I need to make sure that I read it by July 21st, which I totally can. I love Lisa Jewell. She's become a recent favorite of mine. I read 2 of her books, and Then She Was Gone and Watching You, and they were both awesome, phenomenal read, so I cannot wait to read more by her. Alright, let's talk about the other novel that's coming out by Ashley Winstead, The Last Housewife, which comes out August 16th. And this is a pitch black thriller about a woman determined to destroy a powerful cult and avenge the death of the women taken in it by no matter the cost. That could not be more exciting. I really like books that are about cults. Like, that's just something that really interests me, and so I'm super excited to see where this one goes. Then we have a Jennifer Hillier novel called Things We Do in the Dark, which comes out July 19th, and I haven't read any others by her. I want to read Jar of Hearts. I have Little Secrets by her, but I'm super excited to read one by her. And it says, this one is about Paris Peralta, who's suspected of killing her celebrity husband, and her long-hidden past now threatens to destroy her future. That sounds super dark and mysterious, and I love the cover, even though it's just a person's face with, like, I don't know, I like the gold and the blue and all of that. So definitely got to add this to my list. So the next one is The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth. I've never read a book by Sally Hepworth. I've heard she's good, so I'm excited to see what she is about. Okay, so this one, it looks really interesting. I'm excited to read it. I don't know much about it. I feel like the description kind of confused me, but I don't know. I've heard it's good. I've heard Sally Hepworth is good, so we'll buy into the hype and give it a try in 2022. All right, the next one is Stay Awake by Megan Golden, and I own the Nights one by her and haven't read it yet, but I've heard that, like, that one's a podcast thriller, and I can't wait for that. I'm excited for this one too. So this one's about a girl named Liv who wakes up in the back of a taxi with no idea how she is or how she got there. And when she's dropped off at her house, a stranger answers, a stranger who now lives in her apartment and forces her out in the cold. And she reaches for her phone, can't find it, and in its place is a bloodstained knife. And that's when she sees that her hands say "stay awake" on them. And so it's basically like her trying to find out like what happened within the last 2 years and why can't she remember anything, which sounds totally scary that you would forget 2 years of your life. So like this one is definitely going to be read as soon as it comes out, which is August 9th. So I have a bit of a time to wait. The next one is the latest Ruth Ware novel, The It Girl. I have read The Death of Miss Westaway and haven't read anything beyond that, but I'm excited to still read this one. So this one follows a woman on the search for answers a decade after her friend's murder. Sounds like a good time. There's not much more about it quite yet, but I'm sure it'll probably be good. I mean, Ruth Ware is always hit or miss though, so I guess we'll see. So this is another one that I've seen on Bookstagram a couple of times, so I figured I'd add it and see how it goes. It's called Greenwich Park by Catherine Faulkner, and it is resembling like The Girl on the Train, and it's about impending motherhood, unreliable friendship, and the high price of keeping secrets. And I just really like the cover. I'm not gonna lie, that's partially why I picked it, but it looks like it's getting good reviews, and it looks like it could be a good thriller, and so we're just gonna give it a whirl. So up next is Daisy Darker, which is Alice Feeney's newest novel that comes out on August 30th. And I was obsessed with Rock, Paper, Scissors, like one of my top books of the year. And so I'm excited to read this one. So this one is about Daisy Darker, who arrives at her grandmother's house for her 80th birthday. It's Halloween, and Sea Glass, the crumbling Cornish house on its own tiny private island, is at the one with the granite rocks it sits on. The Darker family hasn't been in the same place for a decade, and when the tide comes in, they'll be cut off from the rest of the world for 8 hours. And when the tide goes back out, nothing will ever be the same again, because one of them is a killer. Need I say more? This sounds exciting. All right, another book that comes out on my birthday, which is so exciting, the newest Grady Hendrix book, How to Sell a Haunted House. I read the Final Girl support group. I do have his Southern Book Club's Guide to Selling Vampires, and I want to get his Best Friend's Exorcism book. I don't have it yet, but this one just says he takes on the haunted house in a hilarious and terrifying new novel that explores the way your past and your family can haunt you like nothing else. I'm sure it's going to be fabulous. Now, this one is the first one that I actually got an ARC to. I have a digital copy of this that I am reading right now, and I'm not going to lie, it's really good, and the cover is just stunning. And so this one is about Rob, who just wants a normal life. She almost got it too, a husband, 2 kids, a nice house in the suburbs, but she fears for her oldest daughter, Callie, who collects tiny bones and whispers to imaginary friends. He sees a darkness in her that reminds her too much of the family she left behind. She decides to take Callie back to her childhood home to Sundial, and she'll have to make a terrible choice. And then Callie is worried about her mom. Rob has begun to look at her strangely and speaks of past secrets, and Callie fears that only one of them is going to leave Sundial alive. And I'm reading this so far, and it is insanely good. Cannot wait to see how it ends. Right, let's talk about Miss Finley Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead, because I read Finley Donovan is killing it this year, and it was one of my top 5 books of the year, so I am super stoked to read the second one, which, once again, she's struggling to finish her next novel and keep her head above water as a single mother of the 2. She still has her built-in nanny, but she has to deal with the fact that someone is trying to kill her ex-husband, Steven, or get him out of the picture, and they want her to finish him off, and so she has to deal with her next potential assassination. So I cannot wait to see how this book continues. I've heard we're going to get 4 books in this series, and I could not be more excited. And this one comes out February 1st, and you better believe I've already pre-ordered. Let's chat sci-fi and fantasy. I don't have too many of these, so we're going to go through this fairly quick. I did put Upgrade by Blake Crouch on there. I don't know a lot about this. I've never read a book by Blake Crouch. I have Recursion by him. I've heard this is good. Gabby Reed's had it on hers. And so simply, that's why I added it, and I'm not going to say much more than that, but I added the newest Blake Crouch one, which comes out July 19th. A lot of books coming out around my birthday. Then we have Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey, who also wrote The Echo Wife, which I read at the beginning of this year, so like 10 days ago, and gave it 4 stars, so I'm excited for her other novel. And it says, Vera's mother called and Vera obeyed. In spite of their long estrangement, in spite of the memories, she's come back to the home of a serial killer, back to face the love she had for her father and the bodies he buried there. Coming home is hard enough for her, and to make things worse, they're not alone. A parasitic artist has moved into the guest house out back, and he's slowly stripping her childhood for spare parts. He insists he's not the one leaving notes around the house in her father's handwriting, but who else could it possibly be? This sounds scary as flip. I am excited to read this and see what it is all about, although it's not sounding sci-fi-y, it's sounding thrillery, but whatever. We're going to go with it. And it also comes out July 19th. So many good books. The next one is The Bone Orchard by Sarah Mueller, and I honestly picked this, 1, because of the cover, and 2, because Booked and Busy was talking about it, and it sounded like it was going to be super fun. It has a really long premise. I have not really read much about it, but the cover is really cute. So I think I'm just going to give it a whirl off of that. We'll see if this is what I want. And it comes out March 22nd. Next one is Book of Night by Holly Black. And I have not read any Holly Black books yet. I do have the Cruel Prince series by her. But this one looks super cute. And I've heard a lot of people are like really excited for this book to come out. So I'm hoping that it'll be really good. And this one is about in Charlie's world, shadows can be altered for entertainment and cosmetic preferences, but also to increase power and influence. You can alter someone's feelings and memories, but manipulating shadows has a cost, with the potential to take hours or days from your life. Your shadow holds all the parts of you that you want to keep hidden, and sometimes has a life of its own. Charlie's a low-level con artist working as a bartender while trying to distance herself from the powerful and dangerous underground world of shadow trading. But when a terrible figure from her past returns, her life is thrown into chaos, and her future seems at best unclear and at worst non-existent. It sounds like a great read. I'm really excited to see where it takes us, and it comes out May 3rd. So this next one is This Woven Kingdom by Tahir M. Mafi, which is actually coming in my Illumicrate box because I finally got a subscription to Illumicrate, so I'm so excited to read this. But this one is an epic romantic trilogy and is about Aliza, which is a disposable servant, not the long-lost heir to an ancient Jinn kingdom forced to hide in plain sight. The Crown Prince Cameron has heard the prophecies foretelling the death of his king, but he couldn't have imagined that the servant girl with the strange eyes, the girl he can't put out of his mind, would one day soon uproot his kingdom and his world. I'm super excited for this one. It kind of is giving me these Violent Delight vibes from the cover, so hopefully I love it. Now, I know in order to read this book, I need to read Crescent City, which I have on my shelf and I haven't read yet, and this comes out in February, so maybe I should read it soon. But this is the second book in the Crescent City series, which looks like it's going to have 4 books because there are 4 different houses, and so that would make sense that we would have 4 books. But I'm not really going to, explain what it's about because I haven't read the first one yet, but I love the cover and I hope that I can read this super soon. Then we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which is the first book in the Celestial Kingdom duology by Sue Lin Tan. I've been seeing this going around everywhere and it just looks really pretty. And it says it's a debut fantasy inspired by the legend of Chang'e, the Chinese moon goddess, in which a young woman's quest to free her mother pits her against the most powerful immortal in the realm. I mean, the cover alone is beautiful, but I've heard nothing but good stuff about this. It looks super cute and I love a duology, so I cannot wait to read this. Okay, so then we're going to end with just a couple of YA books. I don't have that many on here, and so let's just finish strong. And the first one is Court by Tracy Wolff. I have the first 3 books to this series, and so I figured, why not be excited to get the last one? And we have the second book in the Legendborn series, Bloodmark by Tracy Dion. I do have the first one. I haven't read it yet, but I figure I'm still excited to read this one, and it comes out November 8th, so I have a lot of time to catch up and read this. And I don't even think I could explain this book if I tried, because I tried to read the first one to figure out what it's about, and I had no idea. But the cover's pretty, and I'm excited to read this one at some point. So this one comes out in 2 days, and I haven't read the first book in the Raven series, so I definitely need to read the first book in order to read the second, but I'm excited for the second one to come out, to the Raven series by Cass Morgan. The sorority witches are tested when a rival threatens to usurp their place on campus, and the forces of hell come knocking on their door. Can we just look at this cover for a second, because it's giving me such great butterfly vibes. I'm excited. I've heard The Ravens is just a really great series, and so I'm sure the second one is going to be just as good. Here's another series that I haven't read the first one of that I want to read this one, and it comes out in July, so I have time, and it's These Twisted Bonds, which is the sequel to These Hollow Vows. And it says, Bree finds herself caught between 2 princes and 2 destinies while the future of the Fae realm hangs in the balance. So it has Fae, which makes me think that it's connected to Sarah J. Maas's books, even though I know it's probably not. But it looks good, looks fun. I'm excited to read both this year. Then we have I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston, who she also wrote One Last Stop and Red, White, and Royal Blue, I believe, which I haven't read either of those. But this one looks cute, and it's about Chloe Green, who's so close to winning. After her mom's moved from SoCal to Alabama for high school, she spent the past 4 years dodging gossipy classmates and a puritanical administration at Willow Grove Christian Academy. The only thing that's kept her going is winning valedictorian. Her only rival, prom queen Shara Wheeler, is the principal's perfect progeny. But a month before graduation, Shara kisses Chloe and vanishes. And then she's, of course, trying to find out, what happened to her and all this other stuff. And there's love in the book. And I love the cover, and it looks cute. So I'm excited to read it when it comes out, May 3rd. Then we have Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie. This cover is just beautiful, and I've seen so many people talk about how excited they are to read this book, so I'm excited to join them. And it says, Ophelia Rojas knows what she likes. Her best friends, Cuban food, rose gardening, and boys. Her friends make fun of her endless stream of crushes, but she's a romantic at heart, so when she finds herself thinking about a cute girl named Talia Sanchez, then the loss of a perfect prom with her ex-boyfriend, seeds of doubt take root in her firm image of herself. And so it's a sapphic romance, it sounds like, and a case of identity. Looks cute. I just have to say this cover is gorgeous, and I cannot wait to read this. I believe it is a gay romance, but it looks adorable. Like, this just is giving me all of the vibes. It's by Kasoko Jackson. I cannot wait to read this. Like, it's super, super cute. Comes out February 22nd, and, like, I really am living for this cover. Like, give me more. And then the last 3 books that I have are not YA, and I didn't really know what to categorize them in, so it's just other. 3 books left, and one is Homicide and Hollow Hollow, which is the sequel to Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manasala. I haven't read that yet, but I've heard it's a really fun time, and so I'm excited to read the second one. Plus, this cover is just super cute. So this one comes out in February. I have a feeling it's probably going to be a Book of the Month selection for February, just because the other one was, so I'll probably just get both of them in February. Then we have Sea of Tranquility, which is by Emily St. John Mandel, who also wrote Station 11, which is on my list to read this year. And it says, this returns to the novel of art, time, love, and plague that takes the reader from Vancouver Island in 1912 to a dark colony on the moon 300 years later, unfurling a story of humanity across centuries and space. Yeah, this one sounds like a good time. I'm sure it's going to be great. And then the last one I'm interested in is To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara, who also wrote A Little Life, which I haven't read yet. And I'm kind of scared to read because I've heard it's like great, but some people hate it. But I've heard he's a phenomenal writer, so I'm excited to read this one. This follows 3 different centuries and 3 different versions of the American experiment about lovers, family, loss, and the elusive promise of utopia. And so I believe it follows 1893, 1993, and 2093, which sounds awesome. So I'm super excited to see what this one is all about. But these are all the books that I'm interested in reading in 2022. And those are all the reads that I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know in the comments down below which one is the one that you're most excited to read this year in 2022. Whether it's a book I mentioned or one that I didn't mention. What are you excited for to come out? Have you pre-ordered anything already? I've pre-ordered one or two of these. And I'm super excited to pre-order some more. I would love to get some arcs of some of these books. I did get my first arc. It was Sundial by Catriona Ward, as I mentioned. And so I'm super excited to actually read that because that one comes out, I believe, in March. And so I'm going to jump on that one super soon. But I love you all, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!